an exclusive. Political said, "I love Hitler." Leak messages expose young Republicans' racist chat. Now, these aren't young Republicans. These are grown adults. Some of them are 35 years old. So I don't know why they keep calling them young, and JD Vance went over that. But I'm going to catch us up. And then today there was another exclusive that dropped. I don't think this one was from Political, but there was another one that dropped that is actual candidate that, well, nominee that Donald Trump put up. So we got this group chat here. I love Hitler. Leaked messages expose young Republicans, racist chat. Now, this is the one that dropped last week. We'll go over this and then that'll segue us into what we got this week. Thousands of private messages reveal young GOP leaders, grand old party leaders, joking about gas chambers, slavery, and the R word. So this is just a couple of bubbles. I'll read through these real quick. Everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. Ironically, there's a fire emoji on there. When do we bring that side out? You're giving nationals too much credit and expecting the Jew to be honest. Great. I love Hitler. Also, we are officially under consideration for a Trump endorsement. They haven't denounced this yet. I'd go to the zoo if I wanted if I wanted to see monkeys play ball. Then one of them even openly admits, if we ever had this leak of this chat, we would be cooked for real. When do we start bullying? It was the R word. Boom, they're on the live. And everyone that endorsed but then votes for us is going to the gas chamber. They love watermelon people. I never been a big fan of watermelon, so I know they weren't talking about me. He also hates the Jews, and this girl is fully. You do the math. No, so this wasn't leaked accidentally. Either somebody was in the group chat and leaked them, or somebody was invited, kind of similar to the Signal chat that Pete Hegseth was in. Or, like I said, more than likely, I'm thinking that somebody got sent a link to this, or somebody that they ousted out of the young Republican group, or hopefully it was somebody that came to the realization that they were wrong. All right, text and reaction from young Republicans, design and development, Jay, blah, blah, blah. New York, leaders of young Republican groups throughout the country worried that would happen if their Telegram chat ever got leaked, but they kept typing anyway. They referred to Black people as monkeys and the watermelon people, and mused about putting their political opponents in gas chambers. They talked about are they enemies and driving them to suicide, and lauded Republicans who they believe support slavery. William Hendricks, the Kansas Young Republicans vice chair, used the word nigga and nigga variations of racial slur more than a dozen times in the chat. Bobby Walker, the vice chair of the New York State Young Republicans at the time, referred to our word as epic. Peter, who at the time was the chair of the same organization, wrote in a message sent in June that everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber. Nigga was tripping. He also was referring to an up and coming vote on whether he should become the chair of the Young Republican National Federation, the GOP's 15,000 member political organization for Republicans between the ages of 18 and 40 years old. So I'm right there on the cusp. I could have tried to infiltrate him and said that I was a young Republican and get in there. But I don't consider this young Republicans. I'm young at heart, but as far as age goes, I'm old enough to run for president. So I don't consider that young. I'm going to create some of the greatest physiological torture methods known to man. What up, Kendall? We only want true believers, he continued. Two members of the chat responded. Everyone that votes no is going to the gas chamber, and everyone that endorsed but then votes us is going to the gas chamber. When do we start bullying? We have a solid three people who can probably have them want to jump. If they vote for us, would they be gassed? When do we bring that side out? I'm going to create some of the greatest torture methods known to man. We only want true believers. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic. I'm ready to watch people burn now. We got to pretend that we like them. Hey, come on in, take a nice shower, and relax. Boom, they're unalived. Can we fix the showers? Gas chambers don't fit the Hitler aesthetic. Joe said, who previously identified himself as a general counsel for the New York State Young Republicans, wrote back. I'm ready to watch people burn down. So we pretty much get what this is about. Text messages of typical MAGA supporters. Now, we're not saying all MAGA supporters are like this. We have to believe that a majority of them are. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is. The exchange is in part of a trove of Telegram chats attained by Politico and spanning more than 7 months of messages to young Republican leaders in New York, Kansas, Arizona, and Vermont. The chat offers unfiltered look at how the new generation of GOP activists talk when they think no one is listening. Now, it doesn't matter if it's the new generation or the old generation because they learned it from the generation prior. No matter if it's the new ones, they had to learn it from someone. They didn't just get this on their own. Now they talk about colleges being radicalized. Oh, we need to get that out of the schools. Well, all of these people go to the predominantly white schools that you're talking about. All of them are going to the schools that you, the parents, the generation before, are handpicking. So they're learning this from somewhere, and it's not from a HBCU. It's not from a college that is diverse. They're going to colleges where they were handpicked by their parents in the generations prior to learn how to talk like this. Since Politico began making inquiries, one member of the group chat is no longer employed at their job, and another job offer was rescinded. Prominent New York Republicans, including Rep. Eli Stankvik, and State Senate Minority Leader Rob Orr, have denounced the chat, and festering resentments along young Republicans have now turned into public reincriminations, including allegations of character assassination and extortion. All right, so there's 2,900 pages of chats. That's a lot of fucking chats. Shared among dozens of millennial and Gen Z Republicans between early January and mid-August. So this would have continued to go on until Politico released this, but they've been doing inquiries for the last couple of months. So that takes it back to August. Many of the chat members work in the government or party politics and serve as a state senator. One serves as a state senator. We have to find out which state senator that is. But anyway, together the messages reveal a culture where racist, anti-Semitic, and violent rhetoric circulate freely, and where the Trump era loosening of political norms have made such talk feel less taboo among those positioning themselves as the party's next leaders. The more the political atmosphere is open and liberating, it's crazy that it's liberating when they hate liberals. Like it has been with the emergence of Trump and the more right-wing GOP, even before him, it opens up young people and older people to telling racist jokes, making racist commentaries in private and public, said Joe, a Texas A&M psychology professor who has studied racism for the last 60 years. All right. So this group chat has been going on from January to August. This is just the one that was exposed. If there's a group chat with over 2,900 pages of just what they know, you have to look at it in. I look at it like this: for every page, the 2,900 pages, I'm gonna go ahead and put 10 other group chats. Yeah, so that'd be what, like 2.9 million group chats that are similar to this. I have about 7 to 10. Well, I won't say 17. I probably have about 5 different group chats with different friends, and each one of those are different, but they're kind of similar because I'm that same person in each group chat. So as far as my response is going to be the same, whether I'm joking around or stating some facts. So within these 2,900, and let's just say it was 100 people in there, those 100 people are in 5 other group chats. That gives us 500 group chats with 2,900 more pages of the same thing. So it isn't just isolated to this one event. You can pretty much assume that if they're talking like this in this group chat with other political figures, young Republicans, then they're talking like this with their college friends. They're talking like this with family members. So we already know it. I don't have to try to sit here and explain it because we already know them fuckers is racist, right? Like, there's no way around it. We know that. There's no way they try to sum it up and make it seem like, we're doing a good thing. Fuck them. You know what I mean? Hopefully all of them lose their jobs. But anyway, that's what was released last week. Now, one thing we know about these individuals is Donald Trump loves the low IQ. And when we say low IQ, we mean stupid. All right. We're not going to say unintelligent. We're not going to say dumb. We're just going to call them stupid. That's exactly what Trump preys on. It's no different than Pete Hegseth's stupid ass in the Signal group chat sending off texts about bombings that are about to happen. They're just dumb. All right. They think they can get away with anything. The good thing about America, not other countries. Well, I won't say other countries, but the good thing about America is that you got this extreme bullshit going on, but eventually the tides are going to turn. There's going to be consequences for all of this, and that's pretty much everything on my channel. There's going to be quote unquote get back, but it won't be retribution. It's going to be the law, whether it takes this term, maybe another term. All of this is going to come back on all of them, and they will get punished. Now, will they get pardoned? More than likely, yeah. If there's another extremist that gets in there, such as a Donald Trump, which he did with the January 6th, and how he just did with, was it named George Santos that did $2.9 million, or was it $200 million, got a pardon. So that's going to happen because, they stick with each other. Look at KG's comment. Who the hell is KG? Look up Paul and Nagras. Let me see. You might be talking about. Hey, hold on, Kid Gravity. I got you. Guys, it's me. It's me. What? Oh, y'all wasn't here for the intro. My name is Modai J. This is the Mo you know. We were using this article as a segue because I didn't get on here last week and talk to you.
President Trump's pick to lead the office.
Guys, it's me. I don't come prepared often. It's me though. I got you. I got you. I got you. All right. I'm preheating the oven. Can I cook a little bit? I got y'all. But anyway, we do have some new messages that were released. And shout out to Kid Gravity. We do have the video, and we were going to get into that. That's the reason I was saying I was just going to talk about the messages from last week because we didn't get on here and talk about that. And then it was going to segue into this. Now, well, there was one senator in the Telegram group chat that we were just going over. This gentleman here, I'm going to let CNN break it down for you, and then we'll go into some articles, and we'll actually go back and look at the messages from it. But what did I just say? Out of those 2,900 pages, times it by 10. Out of those 100 people, times that by 5. Even though we know there's more group chats than that, this is just a continuing thing. It's only a matter of time before we get audio of Trump calling somebody a nigga. It's only a matter of time before we get Pete Hegseth text messages calling somebody a nigga. It's only a matter of time we get JD Vance text message calling somebody a nigga. All of this stuff is going to get exposed eventually. It's just going to take a little bit it's going to take a little bit longer for the people at the top than it is these low hanging fruit. There's a lot of protections in the way. Now, of course, everyone's going to swing it around. Oh, it was longer ago, but all that's alleged. But we'll see some damaging text messages. Remember, guys, this is only 10 months in. There's three years and 2 months left. There's still time. There's going to be a lot. Let's go ahead and jump into this. This is the most current racist message that was released.
Trump's pick to lead the office of special counsel appears to be on thin ice, and that, quite honestly, may be a generous take. You now have the top Republican in the Senate, John Thune, saying this about Paul Ingrassia: he's not going to pass. It comes after Politico reported on racist text messages Ingrassia allegedly sent in a group chat with the Republican operatives. In one message, Ingrassia allegedly texted that the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday should be tossed into the seventh circle of hell where it belongs. In another Ingrassia, in a back and forth.
Oh, man, the whole video ain't downloaded? Get the heck out of here. All right, give me a second. Give me a second. The thing is, we all make jokes in group chats. Even in the Discord, I make jokes. I don't make any racist jokes or anything. I don't really have no racist joke. I just say them fuckers. But what would possess you to put this stuff in a text message? If you'll say it in the text, we know you'll say it in real life. But what the hell would make you?
Hey, Mom?
Yeah, what?
Where are you off to?
Tennessee?
You're going to Tennessee?
Yeah.
Do you know you're in New York right now?
Yeah, so?
Well, how are you going to get to Tennessee?
Come on, YouTube. Oh, trust me, guys. I don't text anything in a group chat, not anything incriminating. But if they got my group chat text, I'm gonna just read off something. Let me see. Well, I ain't gonna read it off. I'll give you guys a detail. In one of my group chats, the last thing we talked about. We sent the meme of a bald head nigga getting slapped. That's what we sent because one of my homeboys had his haircut messed up and he had to go bald. So that's like the last thing we talked about. It was a white guy that got slapped when he was walking down the streets. He was talking shit. Anyway, let's go ahead and play this damn.
And that, quite honestly, may be a generous take. You now have the top Republican in the Senate, John Thune, saying this about Paul Ingrassia: he's not going to pass. It comes after Politico reported on racist text messages Ingrassia allegedly sent in a group chat with the Republican operatives. In one message, Ingrassia allegedly texted that the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday should be tossed into the seventh circle of hell where it belongs. In another Ingrassia, in a back and forth, allegedly wrote, "I do have a Nazi streak in me from time to time. I will admit it." CNN's Annie Greer is on Capitol Hill for more. So you have this reporting, and you have what is in terms of the response from lawmakers on Capitol Hill now.
Well, Leader Thune was very clear last night, Kate. He said that Ingrassia doesn't have the votes, and he hopes that the White House pulls this nomination. Ingrassia was expected to meet in front of the Senate Homeland Security Committee on Thursday, and at least one of the Republicans on that committee, Republican Senator Rick Scott, told me last night that he does not support Ingrassia. So that right there is enough Republican opposition to end this nomination, assuming that all Democrats also vote against him, which we are expecting him to do. So Trump nominated Ingrassia to lead the Office of Special Counsel, which oversees all federal whistleblowers and civil servant laws.
All right, so hold on. Let me look up this Paul, man. Let's look up a history of Paul. He is an attorney.
But his nomination has been clouded with controversy. CNN has reported on his history of alleged racist comments, and as you mentioned, the Politico reporting has a lot of messages in there. I'm going to read you two more of them. In one alleged message, Ingrassia says, quote, "Never trust a Chinaman or Indian, never," end quote. And in another text, Ingrassia writes, quote, Blacks behave that way because that's their natural state. You can't change them.
Y'all niggas need to stop acting like niggas, all right? They saying y'all niggas can't change. Y'all behave the way y'all behave because that's y'all natural state. You can't change them. Y'all niggas need to get right, man.
He then added, according to the chat, quote, proof, all of Africa is a shithole and will always be that way, end quote. Now, Ingracia and his team are pushing back firmly on the latest Politico reporting. In a statement, his attorney says, quote, in this age of AI, authentication of allegedly leaked messages, which could be outright falsehoods, doctored, or manipulated, or lacking critical context, is extremely difficult. We do not concede the authenticity of any of these purported messages.
So wait. The same political party that has just been dropping nothing but AI this whole time, now they're saying, oh, it was AI did that. So nothing else you did was AI, but these messages are the only thing that are AI right here. We can't authenticate those. No, we don't concede the authenticity of these purported messages. So now AI, oh, we don't use, we didn't do that. That was AI. AI did that. Nah, you can't jump into that. You can't just jump over to AI and try to make us believe that someone doctored your messages out of everybody. The least important motherfucker, Paul Ingracia, we're going to doctor his text messages. Let's, and not say niggas, put blacks can't change. Never trust a Chinaman. If we were to doctor text messages, or use AI, we would make them the most explicit as possible that you couldn't get out of it. Why would someone doctor a text message and say, you can't change blacks? That's just the way they are. That's the dumbest thing ever. If you're going to sabotage somebody, you're going to try to fuck them over completely. So no, these aren't AI messages. These are the real deal. No one knew who Paul was until today. No one give a fuck about what Paul did. I'm looking up his history. You're born in 1995. No one gives a fuck about you, Paul. We never heard of you until today. No one doctored these text messages. The authenticity of the text messages, that we don't concede that. You don't need to. We know the text messages are real because they linked up your number. They found out that was your number. We know that you sent the messages. Oh man, you know how it is. That AI motherfucker. Yeah, all right.
It is now in the hands of the White House, Kate, what they are going to do here. But Leader Thune was clear in his message. It's very rare for Republicans on Capitol Hill to push back on one of Trump's nominees, but we are seeing that here. Some Republican senators are expected at the White House later today, so we are going to be tracking closely if the president makes any statement or the White House makes any changes to Ingracia's nomination.
Yeah, this is a space to watch today for sure. When John Thune says it isn't going to pass, John Thune should know and does know what he's talking about when it comes to this.
Now, if you don't know who John Thune is the lackey that stands behind Speaker Mike Johnson. Now, whenever you see, so he's the majority leader of the Senate. John Thune, he's a goofy. But if he's even saying, oh, yeah, he ain't going to get it, he ain't going to have the votes, this is showing you. Now, there's a lot of in-clashing in MAGA right now. And there's a lot to go over. You know, I just sit back and that's all I do while I'm on the clock not getting paid. I'm doing all kinds of research. But if Thune is saying that, then obviously he's not going to get it. Now, the thing is, MAGA, they got to come together, but they can't isolate one group, because if they start to lose what they're losing already, they're losing a huge population of the Latinos that voted for Trump. You see all of them motherfuckers crying and shit. Oh, my family members. Unfortunately, you voted for that. So that's what's going to happen. But they're starting to lose them because they're waking up. You know, that woke agenda. So they're starting to lose the Latino population by all the deportations. They're starting to lose the farmers because of all of the tariffs in the agriculture going down to Argentina. So they definitely don't want to lose what ignorant niggas that they do have. Yeah, we got to call them the ignorant niggas that are supporting it. They don't want to isolate that. So it's going to get tough because this grand idea that they want, unfortunately, we aren't another country where you're able to take over. It's going to be slow. The Supreme Court is pretty much paving the way for Trump to do whatever the hell he wants. But as I was talking earlier, there's going to be a shift in power. And when that does happen, it's going to get ugly for him. There's going to be a lot of people in prison. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. Again, we're only 9-10 months in. We still got 3 years and 2 months before this is over with. So it's only going to get uglier and uglier before more people get exposed.
Yes, it's good to see you, Annie. Thank you very much.
With us now, CNN senior political commentator David Urban and Democratic strategist Megan Hayes. I just want to read a few more of the text that Daniel Lippman reported on here, because what we said there only scratches the surface. In January of 2024, Lippman reports that Ingrassia allegedly wrote of former Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy, "Never trust a Chinaman or Indian, never." And then discussing why Republicans feel Democrats make black people into victims, the text show Ingrassia remarked, "Blacks behave that way because that's their natural state. You can't change them." Another one, according to Politico, "Proof all of Africa is a shithole and will always be that way."
Proof all of Africa is a shithole and will always be that way. Well, the only parts of Africa that I won't call them shitholes, but that they assume are shitholes are what they show on television. If you go to Africa, Africa is a beautiful country. They have developed cities, but you only see what they show you on television. They're not going to show you the good parts of Africa. Now, Paul's born in 95. That puts him at what? 30 years old. Paul just needs the hell slapped out of him one good time. Paul will change up. He won't talk. He'll go back in the house. But then again, none of these fuckers are saying this in public. They only say this stuff in text messages. They only going to say this online behind fake profiles. None of them will ever say any of this in real life because someone will go upside their head. Now, we're not encouraging violence, but if someone called me a nigga, then, well, it's either a slap or a punch or a 1-2 combo. Sometimes a kick to the chest, depending on, saying how limber I am for the day. But they're not going to say any of this in real life. It's all tough talk behind the scenes. And a majority of the time is to try to appear to be cooler to the other people or appeasing to higher ups. Nonetheless, they won't ever do any of this in public.
I'll read a statement from Ingrassia's attorney in just a moment. But first, David, to you, based on this reporting, why hasn't Ingrassia's nomination been pulled yet?
Yeah, John, I suspect it will be today at some point. Interestingly, the president is having Republican senators to the White House to thank them for helping him get his nominees through so quickly, and obviously this will be a topic of discussion. I would suspect that he'd have his nomination, or be told to have his nomination withdrawn, or have it withdrawn himself before that event occurs or right afterwards. Look, John, there's clearly no justification for having this individual out there. I mean, it is, not he's claiming, and his attorneys are claiming, well, it's AI. We're not owning up to this. That's convenient to do, but it's just despicable. It's insane that somebody who's vying for a position of trust and integrity within the government would be so callous and just insane about these very sensitive topics.
Now, I'm gonna rewind a little bit because I want to look at the little accolades that they have on here for him. Now, you're not going to see Trump unendorse him or him rescind it. Paul's going to have to do this on his own, and the reason for that is because Trump and his administration, they have to keep this facade that, hey, this is what we believe in, this is what we stand in. Even though they're not going to go out and claim all this racist rhetoric, Trump's not going to come out and, he's not going to come out and say, nah, we not with that. No, he's not going to do that so others can continue to do it. So they're going to have Paul's going to have to announce it by himself. He rescinds his nomination, and that's how it's going to go down. None of the senators are going to say, yeah, we rescinded anything. He's going to have to do it on his own, and they're going to probably tell him, and they're going to give him, this isn't the last you're going to see of Paul. In 6 months to a year, we're going to see Paul working on something low level, but it's going to be a nice paying job. Paul's not done. None of those young Republicans are done. Let's just make that clear. None of them are done. They'll all be working. So he's a 30-year-old lawyer. He worked for the White House liaison to the Department of Justice. He was reassigned to DHS. Trump shared his comments nearly 100 times on social media. K-File and Gracia shared 9/11 conspiracy video on the anniversary of attacks last year. You see, he didn't do it this year. Last year, he did the conspiracy, just like all the other conspiracies about the Epstein list, who had it, Biden and them didn't do it. All of those conspiracies stopped once Trump got into office because you got to spread the bullshit to gain the audience. Now you're not going to do it because all eyes are on you. So Paul is, again, he's going to be the one to step down on his own if he even does it, or he might just go in there and not get the votes. I think that's probably what they'll do. Have Paul go up there and just not get voted in. You know what I mean? But it's going to be very telling which Republicans in the Senate actually vote on him. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see.
Would be so callous and just insane about these very sensitive topics. You know, guy he should be gone. Plus, I do believe that, you know, Senator Thune is right. There are three, what I recall is three Republican members of the committee on the committee saying they'll vote against him. So he's not going to make it out of the committee to even begin with. So he's dead man walking at this point. Quicker they turn the page on this, the better for the White House.
Let me read the statement David was talking about from the attorney from Paul and Gracia. In this age of AI, authentication of allegedly leaked messages, which could be outright falsehoods, doctored and manipulated, or lacking critical context, is extremely difficult. We do not concede the authenticity of any of these purported messages. What issues do these texts raise for you, Megan?
I mean, just sort of like what David said, he's not qualified to be serving in government position. They're disgusting and gross. And I think that we're learning through this administration, when people show you who they are, we should believe them. And I would imagine that the White House withdraws its nomination rather quickly, as David pointed out.
And Megan, you've worked in a White House. I'm just curious how it got this far, right? Administrations for nominations vet candidates here. And yes, Daniel Littman is a terrific reporter, and there's some great reporting here, but this doesn't seem that deep under the surface.
No, absolutely not. But sometimes private chats don't come out in a vet. I think sometimes people have a cross to bear with somebody and they leak these chats to the media. It gets more play if it's leaked to the media than they find it in a vet. Clearly, this goes past what they want to happen in a nomination hearing. They don't want this person to work in the administration at all because he is dead man walking, as David suggested. So I just think that there is a lot more internal politics at play here with some folks who go up for a nomination. But when these texts are disgusting, and people should believe that this is who he is, and it shouldn't go any further.
And David, if you were crafting the statement from the White House, or J.D. Vance, for instance, the Vice President of the United States, who of the young Republicans, when some racist text messages came out of reporting last week on that, he basically said, oh, these were just jokes, their lives shouldn't be ruined based on this. These were young people. Would that kind of statement go far enough here?
No, John, look, Megan's the expert on communication, but you simply say, you know, this kind of rhetoric will not be tolerated in this administration, and therefore we respect everybody who withdraws a nomination. Pretty simple.
All right, well, there we go. Pretty simple, they say. That's what they say, is pretty simple. But there we go. So within the span of 1 week, we got, 10 to 15 individuals, text messages released, group chats released, and all of them speak the same way about the same individuals. Will anything happen? No. I do believe that Paul will have another job. He probably won't be on the federal level, but one of these states are going to pick him up. Paul's a good guy. You know, we gave Paul a second chance, and he's deeply saddened about anyone he may have hurt or offended by those messages. That isn't what he initially wanted to portray when he was sending those messages. He thought it was a harmful joke. Obviously, he wouldn't say this in public. That's not how he feels. It shouldn't reflect on this young man. He served as a lawyer and attorney for over the last 6 years, and he's done a hell of a job. He's even got some men of Asian descent off of some cases. He got some black gentlemen off. So let's not hold this against Paul. So Paul will be working just like those other young Republicans that continue to be working. It may not be up in the federal government as high as they could have been, but I don't believe that any of them, nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Yeah, they may lose their jobs now, their little positions that they have, but none of them have, besides one, none of them have actually lost a job where they were getting financial incentives. They're just members on little boards or some bullshit. The young Republicans, the GOP of tomorrow. No one gives a fuck about that shit. That's like me saying, yeah, I'm on the board of real niggas. Who cares? You know what I mean? But I don't believe anything's going to happen to them. So that's the text message that were released. Exactly what we were expecting from these type of individuals. And I mean, hey, I mean, what else, man? As Kid Gravity would say, is AI is automated ignorance. That's really what it is, man. Like, I don't know, man. For them to be the brightest stars, the brightest future of them, this dude was 30 years old. It's not like he was, all right, if he's 17, 18 years old, it's like, all right, maybe 25, 26, hell no. 30, man, you out your damn mind. You think we about to let that slide. You got to get up out of here. So that's that.